Well, welcome. Tonight we're going to talk about a group, an area, and a part of Milford that is oh so special. And it's funny because the kids who are of special needs, I've always said they're no more special, no less special than the other 4,400 kids. But once you get involved with them, I was fortunate to be roped into coaching many years ago. And I've never met a group of parents who are more appreciative, more helpful, and a group of kids who just love being in Milford, who just love being kids. You know, we always joked that I had two soccer teams besides the Special Olympics team that I was coaching. And the only team that I knew would never define me was my Special Olympics kids. If they weren't doing what I asked them to do, it was because I wasn't clear. They didn't understand. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal effort by people you're going to meet. One is the queen of Special Olympics here in Milford. So why don't we start with an introduction?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Walsh, and I am the local program coordinator for Milford Special Olympics.
And the be-all, do-all. I don't think there's any part of Special Olympics that doesn't have your fingerprints on it.
I try. It's my passion, and I love it.
And we have a new member joining us.
Yeah.
Let's have an introduction.
Yeah, my name is Andre Aureliano, and I'm one of the Special Olympics coaches for a few sports.
A few sports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Started out with one, but slowly, you know how it works, Al. We're up to 3, I think, maybe 4.
I can't say no to Jen, and she knows this.
Nobody can say no to Jen.
That's why I'm here.
Talk to us about Special Olympics. When we first started, when the high school first was opened in '73,
Okay.
there was no real programs for special needs kids.
No, not to my knowledge. I mean, I didn't move to Milford until '90. So when my kids got a little older, I was looking for Special Olympic programs to get involved in because where I grew up, I always did that. And there wasn't one, but I saw an ad in the paper for a coach for a Special Olympic program sponsored by Avery Dennison, and we started out with 4 individuals on a track team in '94, and now, well, you know where we are now. Over 300 athletes, 40 coaches, and over 75 volunteers.
40 coaches,
Mm-hmm.
300 kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's an incredible program.
And we offer programs for ages 2 and up, so you're never too old and you're never too young to do Special Olympics.
Talk to me about the different teams.
So every season we have 4 or 5 teams. And we have a lot of new sports, and powerlifting is, we do a fundraiser every year, and our first fundraiser, my friend Andre here came to enter a powerlifting tournament. We had a unified powerlifting tournament, and that was his first exposure. He was coming to compete with our athletes, and from that day on, roped him right in, Al, roped him right in. He said, I want to volunteer, and I'm like, oh, let's talk. So yeah, so we have powerlifting, we have cheerleading, rhythmic gymnastics, we have over 15 different sports year-round, and we have unified teams at the high school, 3 unified teams at the high school.
So for people who don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see the Paralympics, you see the special needs sports. What's a unified?
A unified team, which we have many, we have 3 at the high school, but we have many in the community also, is it's individuals with and without disabilities competing on the same team.
So you've got typical kids.
Yes, and adults, depending on the age group. Yep.
Helping out.
Being on the team and competing and
But
playing.
the holding back. I mean, they're there to help the Special Olympics people.
Yeah, they're there to be a teammate. The coach is there to guide everybody on the team, and they're there to be a teammate.
So now powerlifting, that seems dangerous to me. I could hurt myself even looking at the barbells.
Yeah, it gets pretty heavy sometimes.
It's a lot of work.
We saw the powerlifting, what is it, the one, the jerk, the clean and jerk thing?
Yeah, Olympic lifting.
Oh, wow.
Olympic lifting is a little bit different than powerlifting.
Okay.
Powerlifting, we focus mainly on just 3 movements, which is your bench, your squat, and your deadlift. We don't do any, overhead snatches or clean and jerks, any of that stuff. That's more Olympic lifting.
That looks scary.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
a lot of weight.
Saw the women up there with 300 pounds above their head. It's like
incredible. Yeah.
So, our Special Olympics kids, when you say bench,
Yeah.
they lift benches?
No, they bench press. And they don't press benches. They lay down and we put a barbell on their hands and they just have to, execute one bench press.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, the weight, I would imagine it's proportional to the weight of the person.
Course. Yeah. Depends on, their strength, their level of, mobility. We all cater that to the athlete.
So if I weigh 100 pounds, what would be a nominal weight that I would bench press?
It's usually 70% less, so probably 35, 30 pounds around there. Obviously, if you're a strong 100-pounder, you can probably bench your body weight.
So the top end is benching your body weight.
For reps, yeah, not for just one single rep.
Okay, and then what else is there?
We do squats, which is the bar on your back, where you have to squat down, and then a deadlift, which is where you have to
The
pick
bar
up.
on your back?
Yes, on your upper back.
How does it get there?
There's a rack that you have to walk underneath.
And
That holds the bar and...
You have to come to a powerlifting competition.
I guess.
You have a lot
You
to learn.
do.
You got a lot to learn.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, the idea of putting a bar with weights on my back, I'm too old for that. What's the third one?
The third one is a deadlift, where the bar is on the ground and you have to bend over, grab the bar, and just stand up with it.
Seems like a lot of work.
We had an athlete that Andre coached that went to World Games in Seattle and came home with 4 gold medals.
Joe Morrow.
Joe Morrill.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
To Joe Morrow, yeah.
Yeah, that was the time when we're watching the intro, and everybody's coming out from
Oh, yeah.
Massachusetts, holding, looking, and then there's one wingnut dancing around, just jumping around. I looked at my wife, I said, "That's your daughter." I know that's your
That was
daughter.
in Seattle, yeah.
It was in Seattle, and
Yeah.
sure enough, that was my Lexi jumping up and down. It's like, oh.
I believe Joe deadlifted 435 pounds, if I'm not wrong. 434,
moly.
something like that. Squatted 380, something in that range.
It's a sport you have to do a lot of training for, and it really, you need to train year round, and thanks to Andre, we're able to do that now. We weren't able to do that in the past because, first of all, we didn't have enough space at Milford High Gym, and so Andre's dream was always to open a gym that could accommodate our athletes, and he has done that in this past year.
Yeah.
He opened a gym to accommodate our athletes and many other people in need for a great place to go
So
and
you're
work
letting
out.
our Special Olympics kids go up and train in your gym?
Yeah,
Yes, he
How
does.
cool.
yeah.
And he trains them. He takes.
Yeah, every Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. I donate my time in my facility for special needs athletes to come down and get a workout in.
So where is this special gym?
My gym is in Mendon, right on Route 16.
Like near the drive-in, or
Past the drive-in, up on the left before the Muffin House.
before I go to Southwick?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
There's that
That-
plaza
that
right
plaza?
there. Right there, you take that left and it's in there.
And what's it called?
It's called Barbell 88.
Barbell 88?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, where did that come from?
I was born in 88.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's And like Jen said, it's I got involved with Special Olympics, especially with powerlifting, after a couple of years of just going to the high school and just working with the kids there and seeing that the equipment was old. We were way too big of a team to be in that little facility. Sometimes we had to share with the wrestling team, and so it was just a thought. I was like, hey, maybe one day I can, have my own spot where I can host our practices. A lot of these athletes, they can benefit from working out year round, not just seasonal. And I'm a pretty big advocate for health and fitness, So, thankfully COVID kind of screwed everything up, but in my case, it opened doors for me.
How so?
As more gyms started closing down, I started buying more gym equipment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. because I could get stuff a fraction of the cost. I rented a little storage unit.
So you can actually afford to buy the high-end stuff you want.
Yeah. Spending all of my money on gym equipment. And I just started storing it in a little storage facility. And then, you know, I sat down with Jen. I'm like, Jen, I think we're going to start looking for a spot. And just after looking for, you know, spots here and there, the one in Mendon opened up, and I started moving my stuff in. And next thing you know, it's
Well,
what
that's
I do
really
now.
cool. I hope that people appreciate what you're doing for Milford, well, for the kids in the area.
Milford area, yeah.
Yeah, well,
accommodates a lot of our athletes.
They have done a lot more for me than I could ever do for them.
Well, that's always the case. You can never explain how
can't.
much these kids, you know, when they run up to you, coach, hi,
It's-
coach.
Yeah, it's been life changing, to say the least.
And to watch them accomplish the things that they didn't think they could do when they first started, it just, you know, it does your heart so well. I mean, I watch people, some of my athletes push a sled or run with this huge band around their waists, and he's pulling and they're running, and things that they didn't think they could do, and then you know, you see them the next day and they're like, that was so much fun. And it is the confidence that it brings our athletes. And you know, I see a lot of them going from that to exercising more at home, doing things on their own, because Andre encourages that too, and he talks to them about eating right, and he talks to them about exercising more than once a week. And so, you know, everything that he's teaching is carrying through over into everyday life.
Well, especially when you figure that there's going to be a point in their lives where the family is, you know, not there to support them.
Yeah.
You know, when they're kids, we're young, but as we take that final bus ride north, I hope it's north. When I go to the bus, if they hand me suntan lotion and a towel, I'm going to be depressed. But, you know, all of a sudden they start hitting their 20s and they're on their own.
Yeah, a lot of them are, yeah. And to start healthy habits young, because it'll last. Do you know what I mean? It's harder to change them when you're older. If you get them when you're young, they last.
But some of the stuff we take for granted, just working, collecting money, having a budget. I mean, it's wonderful when I see that Milford High now has programs to help the kids be on their own.
And I think the thing about exercise too is your mental health. You know what I mean?
for
Especially
sure.
like during COVID. I mean, Andre kept that gym going, so which really, you know,
For
that's
sure.
huge to our athletes. The exercise has helped them a lot with their mental health. Being home and isolated during COVID was a real struggle for that. I mean, our programs ran for all but the 2 months when we eventually shut down. We kept going after that.
Wow.
We had protocols, mass screenings, temperature checks, you know, everything in place, but we still ran our programs, and that really helped, you know, with a lot of our athletes who struggled with the mental
Do you
health
have
challenges.
issues at the gym with people coming that aren't vaccinated? Or
No.
No.
see, right there tells you the impact you're having.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
And the people at his gym that, like, you know, they'll be in there working out, and then the next thing you know, they're over there helping Andre the next week with the program.
Everybody wants to get involved.
Yeah.
well, that's wonderful.
Everybody. It's so wonderful.
So to keep it going, Andre is put together a fundraiser, the truck pull. I'll let him tell you about it, because it's
Yeah, it's gonna be our first year. So
I'll pull a Tonka truck.
Yeah. It's gonna be our first year, so I don't really know how it's gonna go. Jen's been helping me out. So September 26th, I'm doing a truck pull at my facility. We're gonna have food, drinks. We're gonna have a little car show, and all the money raised is gonna go towards a foundation that I'm starting called the Uplifting Heroes. And I just want to help out, you know, with every team that I'm involved with, you know, with the help of Jen. So that's on the 26th of September.
and
Now-
teams can enter. So you can enter teams of
Yeah,
15.
yeah. It's teams of 15 people will pull a truck, $20 per person, so $300 per team. And then I haven't figured out what I'm going to do for prizes and all of that stuff now. Yeah, so that's still in the works.
Well, the prizes are what the kids get out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
more
I
than
mean,
anything.
look how many times we go and we say, well, the kids don't care about medals.
Oh, they do.
Oh, you can see when they get ribbons, it's like, yeah, that's nice. You can see how much they want those medals.
You've seen
Yeah,
it.
maybe we can have some trophies. Maybe we can have some big trophies made.
Hey, all that hard work.
So now, I'm not pulling a truck unless it's a Tonka. But if I want to support your efforts,
Yeah.
okay, I'll make a donation.
No, that'd be awesome.
How do I do it?
So I'm getting all the flyers set up now with the registration link where people can go online and make a donation there. Or how do we do that, Jen? Checks?
Yeah, they can, yep. Yep, or they can write checks to you.
Write checks to the foundation as well. Or just come the day of and pull a Tonka truck.
I may
You
be
need
able
to see some lifting in action, Al. Come on.
The only thing I lift is my coffee. But no, seriously, there'll be a lot of people, I believe, that will be happy to help.
I hope so.
And if they can just write a check, who do they make it out to?
To Barbell 88.
Barbell 88. Because, I mean, Jen, let's face it, if I don't know anything else, I know I can send it to you at the high school.
Oh, yeah. Milford Special Olympics, either way.
Yeah, or Milford Special Olympics.
You know,
Either way.
just send a check to you to help out
Yep.
and go from there.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
That'd be so awesome.
Because not all of us can lift a truck or press a bench, but, you know,
You gotta start somewhere.
well, it's, you want to help. You know, you sit there and say, there's certain things that are just pure.
Well, and
these
Special
kids
Olympics,
and
you
their
know.
intentions
Yeah.
are just pure wonderful.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And you know Special Olympics is more than just the sport. It's about the camaraderie, it's about the confidence, about the self-esteem, it's about the independence. It's so much more than just a sport. It's what sports do. It's how,
Well,
how sports transform lives.
I remember seeing these kids when they were 6, 7, and as they got older, and it was like nothing got in their way.
No.
And you sit there and say, that in itself is an achievement.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, when I was in high school, never heard word one, or the words you heard were not complimentary, about the special needs kids. There weren't the programs, there weren't, you know, the whole thing where we do the best buddies. That is just so cool.
Well, I mean, it's all about inclusion, and I think that our athletes and our students do more for others and change the world just by being involved in everything, and people seeing them accomplish and strive and all the things that our athletes do.
Well,
our athletes give
just
as much as they.
when you think of how much the school has changed, just going to the cafeteria, you have to walk by a huge trophy case dedicated to Special Olympics victories and Special Olympics. And the victory is just participating.
And then, and you know, and it shows like all the different like accomplishments our athletes, World Games, USA Games, going to the NBA and playing on the unified team. We've had 2 athletes do that. Our athletes have accomplished so many things, and it's all showcased in that.
Now,
trophy
out of
case.
the 300 kids, how many are Milford?
I would say 220,
Oh.
because we do ages 2 and up. So we have a young athletes program from 2 to 7, and then we have a developmental program from 7 to 10, and then we have our Special Olympics programs, which are open for anybody ages 6 and up.
Now, how do you answer the people who say, why are we helping kids from other towns?
Well, so this is what I tell them. First of all, Special Olympics is by age and levels. So when you division or you have a team, you can't have a 5-year-old with a 22-year-old or a 5-year-old with a 12. You know, you have to division by age and ability. So if we did not include other towns, we wouldn't be able to make teams, because we don't have, you know, 12 8-year-olds to make a team. We'll have 2 8-year-olds, 2 10-year-olds, 2.
I hadn't thought about that.
So we division, you division like 8 to 15, 15 to 22, 22 to 30, and 30 plus. So, and then you division by ability. So you can't just throw 10 people together on a team, ages 8 to 30, and make a team. We need to, you know, make a team with same ability and age level. So If we didn't open it to other towns, we couldn't do that.
You know, I always thought we're doing things for the Milford kids.
We are.
If we help other kids from towns around us, God bless us even better.
Gold. Yes, it is.
You know,
And when you think about it, Al, and you look at the other towns around us, a lot of them are small. They don't have enough to make one team. Do you know what I mean? So this way we share the wealth.
Yeah, especially nowadays, I feel like more now than ever, there's a lack of togetherness in communities.
you know that's a really profound statement, because when we were kids, you hung around your neighborhood.
Together,
I mean,
right?
we were in the Heights.
Yeah.
All the Portuguese kids in the Heights hung together tight. Well, we had no choice. You know, we'd get home, we'd grab a baseball bat or a football, or you played in your neighborhood.
I was just talking about this to a buddy of mine. Even when I was in high school, we knew where everybody else was because all the bicycles would be in the front yard. Like everybody's at their house.
Yeah, those were the days where we'd take the bikes down to Pheno Field or whatever. Nobody ever thought that this was a problem. You know, everybody hung together. Of course, the great unifier or divider was the Water Street Hill by the Larches.
Yeah.
Because Wednesdays, we used to go to the band concerts in Hopedale. So before any other day, the kids from Luby Ave, the kids from the Plains, you had a rivalry. But somehow when you went over that hill and you got into Hopedale, you turned the hat around.
Everybody, yeah.
Now they were Milford kids.
Yeah.
So if anybody picked on any of us, you could count on the guys from Luby Ave or the Plains sticking up for you.
Yeah.
Of course, once you got back over the hill, it's like, get back to your end. You know, we always laughed and said it's like cousins. You know, inside the family, we can gripe and groan at each other, but anybody who messed with anybody from Milford had to mess with the whole town.
Yeah.
And today, with all the formal, you know, everybody has to be driven everywhere and everything has to be registered. You don't really get to know the kids.
You don't.
Well, I think that's one thing that's great about Special Olympics too, is that while the kids are, playing their sport, training, doing whatever, the parents are networking. It's like a support group. Like Andre has an awesome room at his gym that he created for the parents to wait while the athletes work out, and they sit in recliners and they're talking and chatting, and it's great for them too because they're getting some respite.
I was going to say, that's
Sitting
got to be
back,
just a moment that they have for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some of them are even working out now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They come in their gym clothes.
It's got that too.
That's great.
Yeah.
So 300 kids from ages
Two and up. It's
How
kids and
old?
adults. Oh, you can never be too old to do Special Olympics. So, I mean, you don't age out. We had a golfer at one time that was 100. You can never be too old. That's why we offer sports like bocce and bowling and golf, so that there's always something. If you no longer want to play basketball, maybe you want to do bocce, or maybe you want to golf. We have swimming. You know, there's a lot of programming.
Yeah, but that's really cool because as you get older, you may love to swim, or, I can probably go down there and deadlift 10 pounds, maybe 20, right? But get to a point where you say, I can't do it anymore.
Right.
But bocce?
Bocce's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
Bowling.
Bowling.
We have a bowling team.
Andre does bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have all different, sports, all different levels for everybody to have a choice and to do what they enjoy and what they love, so they don't have to play basketball because there isn't anything else. There's plenty of other options. We just started this year cornhole and rhythmic gymnastics. Those are two new sports to the.
Rhythmic gymnastics.
Oh yeah, it's like rhythm dancing with ribbons
with the
and
ribbons
ballet
and
and everything. Oh, we
Like to
got
see
it.
you do that.
No, you don't. Not this body.
Yeah.
Put me in those tights and
Those
you'd
are-
have young children crying and older people vomiting. That just wouldn't work.
Don't worry. Yeah, so we do. So we're always growing and we're always adding more programming for our individuals.
So now 40 coaches doing all these different sports. We take swimming. And I mean, I get lucky because I get to go see a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
'cause
and you take a lot of the pictures
let's
for
take the
swimming
pictures
for us.
that is a wide wide range of abilities.
Yeah, and we have 3 coaches now. Lexi, the program has grown, obviously, like I said, because, some people, they don't, they as they age, or some people just love to swim, they're fish. So the program has grown over the years. So there's now 3 coaches that work in that program. Sometimes 4. There's one other coach that comes when he can. So, but we need them. Like you say, the ability level, the wide range.
Well, again, we're fortunate that we got the pool.
Oh yeah, the pool's awesome. And we have traditional swimming, and we have a unified team. So the athletes, and the same with bowling. Like Andre's a unified partner in bowling because we have a unified bowling team, and we have a unified flag football team too.
Now this is all big ball bowling?
Yeah.
At Pins.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pins
Oh,
and
Pins.
Milford's been very good to us with our Special Olympics.
They've been really good over the years to a lot of the kids' programs.
Yeah, they're really good to us.
Yeah, the Brink family.
I
I worked there. That was my first job.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But you think about it, when they
They're
had
good
the
guys.
after prom,
Yeah.
and you'd go down there. I mean, what a wonderful way of safeguarding our kids.
And when they were open during COVID, we were there once a week.
Every Monday.
We were like the only group in there, but that's all right. Yep.
Every
Yeah,
Monday.
you never think of bowling anymore. I mean, when we grew up here, you had the candle pins up
Yeah.
in Iandoli's. You had the big balls down.
Yeah.
It was different. Even, what was it, the duck pins?
I think Candlepin's gone now. It's
Franklin?
not in Mass at all.
Picos or
There
whatever.
was
Yeah.
one in Franklin. That one closed.
Yeah.
And there was one in Diamond Hill and one Socket. That one's still there.
That one's still there, yeah.
It just seems that bowling just is quietly fading away.
Well, it's one of the biggest sports in Special Olympics.
Oh,
It is. We had over 30 athletes last time we competed.
we used to take the company for, unification. We'd take them bowling.
Team building?
Yeah. My darling bride was always the one that you didn't want to pick. We went out once, and they had the guys there with the bowling shirts. I mean, these guys were serious.
The polos, yeah.
Yeah, their scores were up on the thing.
Oh, we're
and,
pretty serious.
Yeah,
too.
we're pretty
They were
serious.
really-
We're pretty serious.
and they were not happy when Sharon would throw the ball in the other lane in the middle of the ball.
Yeah.
Then she got pregnant. She threw almost a perfect game. Somehow the angle,
stomach in the way
the
helped?
stomach guided her. So for a year, we all wanted her. Then she lost the weight, and she went back to throwing the ball in the other guy's lane. So, but it was fun. I mean,
Yeah.
the bowling thing was really
It's
cool.
fun. It's a lot of fun. We have a wide variety of sports going on now.
So you
it's
do
great.
bowling, you do weightlifting.
Yeah, flag football.
That's becoming more and more popular, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're hearing all about the dangers. I mean, the whole concussion thing, both in soccer with headers, as well as
There's football with pads.
football with helmets.
Yeah.
And so our athletes, it depended on the year, but they've competed many times at Gillette on flag football. So that's a real
That was a treat.
exciting day when they get to do that, isn't it? Get on the field and compete. But when the sport first started, we were one of the first teams, and we used to get to go to Gillette every year. Now the sport's grown so much that you don't get to go every year. They take turns with the different teams to go to
I
Gillette and
think
compete.
we're 16-2 ever since I became involved.
Yeah.
We have a
Good team.
very serious team.
Yeah.
Coach Mike Tim.
Yeah.
head
Wow.
Coach, yeah.
Is it all guys or?
No.
No.
We have a couple girls that like to play on the team.
Michelle, Divine.
Melissa and Divine, yeah.
Melissa, not Michelle. Melissa,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah, we have great football team.
And what other sports?
That's all.
That's what he plays.
Yeah, that's enough for
Yeah.
one
He's
person.
He's year round,
I
so the
really- I
poor guy
really
doesn't
wa-
get a break.
I really want to do bocce. I love bocce.
Bocce used to be the big thing at the Portuguese picnic.
It was my father's favorite game.
They'd go up there, all the old Portuguese would get up there, and you talk about serious. Every once in a while, some little kid would run across the bocce field. You'd think he was about to get murdered. But they were incredible. The skill that they could show.
We have track and field. Mark Mann coaches. Do you know Mark? He's our coach for track and field. We have volleyball. That was a new sport a couple of years ago. We have cycling in the summer. Yep. We have, what else do we have?
We have
Soccer,
softball.
softball. Sean Smith coaches softball. We have soccer. There's like 3 teams in soccer.
Is that right?
Yep, cheerleading. We have a
Well, I remember
cheerleading.
the cheer. We used to go to Newton North.
We still do. We didn't go this year because of COVID, but we go every year in March to Newton North for that tournament.
That was really good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And then some of the cheerleading teams had the special needs kids involved in that too,
Yeah,
which I just thought was cool.
yeah. Yeah, well, we have unified cheerleading team also. And then in the winter, it's powerlifting and basketball and bowling.
Yep.
Yeah, basketball was at Newton North also, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's the same tournament. So that's where I grew up, and the people that I work with started inviting us years ago to the basketball, and they added cheerleading to it. So they invite us every year to the Kevin Clancy tournament in memory of an athlete that passed away. I actually had him at my first job ever. I worked at a camp in Newton, and he was one of my campers.
So
had him
now
when he
the
was
tough
8.
questions. How do you get funded for all this stuff?
We fundraise. So we have wonderful people like Andre that help us, but we fundraise. And we do like a road race. We do an annual dinner. We just did a huge golf tournament. We had started a nonprofit years ago called Friends of Milford Area Special
That was
Athletes.
the FOMASA thing we always
Right,
went to.
right. So we started that years ago. And it basically, the parents wanted to give back to our wonderful volunteers that were in high school and give them scholarships. And then it grew from that to supplementing our programs, because as our programs grew, our needs grew. So we still, and then a couple years ago, we had a volunteer pass away, Aaron Zenus. He was 12 years old, and his dad and granddad.
It was Joe's son, right?
It was Joey's son, yeah. So it's and Joe Sr. and Joe Jr. both coach for me. And Aaron used to come with his dad and coach basketball every year. And his uncle has been an athlete in my program since we started in '94, Mark.
Yeah.
So we decided.
Marky with his guitar.
Yeah,
The
Marky
best.
and his sunglasses.
And
The best air guitarists around.
I was going to say, that plastic guitar, no dance would be complete unless Mark's out there
The
playing
best.
his guitar.
The best.
So we, Mr. Zenus was struggling about a year after Aaron passed and said he really wanted to do something in his name. And we wanted to do more for our individuals instead of just Special Olympics. Like, we wanted to keep going with our Special Olympics and fundraising, but we want to start offering more programming. So we started the Aaron Zenus Foundation. Mr. Zenus and myself co-founded it, and now that supplements all our programs, and we're fundraising. Our goal is to start a business for our individuals with intellectual disabilities to run. So right now, that's our major goal, besides continuing to supplement our Special Olympics. We are trying to start a business in Milford for our individuals with intellectual disabilities to fund. So that's our goal right now.
Well, you placed a lot of the kids in the program. If I remember, I'd go to well, it's not Iron Dolly's anymore, Shaw's, and you'd see kids working there. And then when I was down the hospital, the medical center,
Yeah.
kids were working on infusion pumps.
Right, because we have a Project Search program there. It's a transition program to help our students as they turn 22 to find employment. And at the high school, we have a great vocational program, and their goal is to do that also. So between the two programs, we're trying to place our Milford students in a job, have employment when they leave. And the great thing about Special Olympics is when our athletes, when our students transition, things change. And you don't have school anymore. But the one thing you can always take with you is your job and your Special Olympics programming, because you're never too old. So it helps with transition.
Well, isn't that like the bistro? Doesn't that tie into that?
Yeah, that's a pre-voc. So our students start when they're 14 to 18 in the pre-voc, where they do a lot of academics and a little bit of vocational training. And then from 18 to 22, they go into our voc program and Project Search.
So at 14, what do I do in pre-voc?
You're doing a lot of academics, and then you're getting a little bit of exposure to cooking, laundry, things like that. And then as you get older, It's more about going to job sites and getting exposed to that, and still academics, because you have to have, you know, your MCAS alts, and you need to pass those. And
Yeah, but I remember years ago when the MCAS came out that very few, if any, of our special needs kids were passing it.
no, they're all passing now. We get
I was going to say, it seems like now there's virtually none that don't pass.
well, we have excellent teachers in there, because it's not easy. It's a lot of work and it's very hard, but our teachers are accomplishing it. They're awesome.
Well, I think it's the passion that they have.
Yeah,
They
I
really
agree.
believe that these kids can do more every year. And somehow that spills over, you know.
Well, high expectations, high rewards.
So they learn some basics. And I mean,
And
things
we
we
build
take
upon
for,
that as they age, because
things we take for granted with typical kids. You know, it's wonderful cooking. I mean, that's not trivial. You know, to this day, I'm not allowed to cook. I mean, I thought the basic rules were, you know, when you have those nested pots, you start with the little one, and when you fill that one up, you go to the next one, you go to the next one, you just keep going till you've used up all the pots. Then you know you're done. When we were in Paris, the young lady who took care of us used to call and say, if you want to cook, Mr. Correa, call me. It'll be easier to cook for you than to clean up all the pots and pans you leave. So I guess I should have been in that course to learn.
it's a great course.
But now, the Voc program, that's at the high school.
Yep, that's a continuation. So once they do their 4 years of high school, they go on to VOC. And it's basically, you know, it's still academics, but it's job-related, vocational-related, life skills-related, the academics, and more, you know, and on-the-job training. So they go out to job sites a lot. They do travel training. And then we have Project Search, which is like a job immersion program. You come in, we do, you know, we talk about job interviews and how to find a job, job applications, all that's done the first hour. And then you're at a job site from 9 to 2 with the natural supports at the hospital. So, and then you stay for 10 weeks in one area, and then you go to another job, another internship, and then another internship. And the goal is, by the end of the year, to have all the skills you need to find employment. And we try and employ everybody by the time they leave Project Search.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great program. And Miss Ed Kelly at Milford Hospital and Elaine Willie have been amazing at supporting the
Both
program.
of them are class.
Oh, they're amazing
You
individuals.
know, when you think Ed spent 20-some years training to be CEO as the CFO, and he's really, really lived up to everything we hoped. It was a hard shoes to fill with Frank Saba
I know.
leaving.
I know.
But Ed has more than accomplished the goals,
Yeah,
and he really does care about the residents of Milford.
yeah. And Frank was the one him and Bob Tremblay started the program. And then the powers that be that are still there have kept it going. And Ed is very supportive. And Elaine's been there from the start, too.
Now, the kids who are going out to work, I remember, I don't know, seems like forever ago that you came before the FinCom for the bus support. How's that worked out? Does that really help the kids?
Oh, yeah. We do travel training with our individuals, and they all have Charlie cards. And a lot of them still use it to this day because that's how they get around. We have an individual that has moved out on his own. He takes the public busing to his job and home. And so it's worked out. And if they want to go see a friend, anything, they have another tool in their belt. You know what I mean? So when they leave, to be more independent and not need
That's a hard
to
thing
depend
because
on someone.
people look at the bus and they see it empty. And they say, why are we paying $250,000 a year of tax money?
Yeah.
But they don't notice that there's maybe one or two.
Well, you should see all the kids that get off it in the morning at the high school.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yes, the stop at the high school is extremely busy. We see a lot of our students are using that.
I mean, the one thing the town meeting has always done is taking care of our kids. You know, I mean, money's tight. And like before the show, we were talking about how we have to be very careful because a lot of the people who built Milford we're here because of their work, are now living on Social Security. And you know, that's $1,300 to $1,800 a month, which seems like a lot of money, but an apartment alone will eat most of that up. You know, so as you start looking through everything we offer, you got to be careful on every dollar you spend. But when it comes to the kids, I've never seen town meeting turn their back.
Well, that transportation has been a huge, I mean, that's a huge addition to our program, you know, as far as being able to travel train everybody and to give our individuals the independence they need to live a full life. It's just another tool in their belt.
Well, that weighed heavy on a lot of us when you, Lexi, and the crew came in, because independence is something that we take for granted. You know, you get to build a gym because you want to. You get to run a company because you want to. But a lot of these kids won't have that opportunity for something as silly as, how do I get to the hospital? So, you know, when you talked about the bus, the numbers don't work.
Yep.
If you were a private company, you'd never invest in this bus because you can't make money.
Yeah.
But you don't have to make money at everything you do. You know,
Some things are just about servicing the needs of the individuals, the citizens of the
well,
town.
that's it. We're taking care of 4,000 kids. Not any more special or less special than any kid in the program. You know, you turn around and say, people who want to play football, we built a stadium, put $4 million in. Then we had to build a softball field for the kids who wanted to play softball. You know, you've got all sorts of programs that go on. We've put away $1.2 million to turf another field. As soon as the Parks Department figures out the best place for it,
Yeah.
all of that, you could always argue that you don't need to fund. But yet, it's part of being a community.
And yeah, and it's quality of life for your citizens, the town of Milford, and Milford has always done that.
I would love to help build a new gym at the high school.
It's
That-
coming.
It's
That
coming.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
It was, what, 5 years ago? 6 years ago? For about 7 years, we kept saying, we're putting money away in the stabilization account, and it was growing to 12 million, 13 million, 14 million. And people kept saying, why are you doing that? And I said, there's a school coming. So then we did Brookside, and we were fortunate we didn't have to touch the stabilization account. As soon as Brookside came, the next few months, we're starting to put money back in stabilization. And people said, why are you doing that? There's a school coming. And I was really proud that, you know, $62 million Woodland, we didn't have to assess anybody. We planned it, we had enough money tucked away that we could absorb it into the normal budget. But as soon as we stopped and we got Woodland done, next year we put $1 million back into stabilization, and people said, why? I said, school's coming. There's a high school coming. I mean, let's face it, every 8 to 10 years, we're going to be doing a new school. And it's not that it's bad, but you know, you got 5 major schools, it's once every 50 years that you redo.
And think about how much the population has grown too. And, you know, you need space.
Not only population, the technology.
Yep.
That's one
You know,
thing that
it's
just-
funny because when you start looking at, like, Milford High,
Yeah.
1973, we moved in. I was in the first class. This winter of 73. Had 222 kids in the class. Until the last 2 years, we added 1 kid per year. 3 years ago, we graduated 260. That was 40 extra kids in 45 years. The last 2 years, we've had like 80 and 90 kids at a whack. And that's a scary movie when you start thinking about, you add 200-300 kids in 3 years, it's an entire school.
Yeah. Fast, too.
It's an entire, I mean, Brookside's 300 children. Memorial, 300 kids, you know, approximately. So we've added an entire school. So we're going to have to expand because Milford's not getting any smaller.
No.
You know, but it would be wonderful. I've been advocating that when we do the new high school, we'll have to pay for it. The school building administration ain't going to pay. And that's another reason we can't build a new school. If we built a new school, Andre, the pool goes away. The auditorium goes away because they don't pay for them. So that's why Woodland, we don't have an auditorium, we have a cafetorium. It's a cafeteria with a stage built on, but you can call it a cafeteria. So we got our 48% reimbursement. When we go to do the high school, I'm praying that we can push hard enough for a field house. Something like when we go to places like Shrewsbury, I'm in awe when I see what they've done for their kids. The weight rooms, just all the wrestling rooms and all the rooms that I have no idea what they're doing, but they seem to be busy.
Sports, gotta invest in sports.
And we need that pool because that pool is going 24/7.
Well, you know, everybody that you talk to about the pool that's involved uses Milford as, you know, kind of a benchmark because of the stands that you can see. And
It's an excellent facility.
and you know, and Lenny seems to keep his arm around it, so when we needed new diving boards, community use somehow comes up with the money and keeps it going.
Yeah.
But Lenny is part of Old Milford. Quiet. Now, you may not think he's quiet, but you don't hear much from him.
Just does it.
But all of a sudden, hey, that was repaired. Hey, that was fixed. Hey, we got buses somehow. We don't have any buses free, but somehow we got buses to take the soccer kids down to Fino Field. That is something that's truly Old Milford. You know, he's one of the guys who I always admire because in my mind, he gets it. You know, it's not about being up on the stage and saying me, me, me. It's about it needs done, it gets done.
Just having good core values you stick to.
So how is funding for Special Olympics?
Well, we've been working really hard, and the community's been great to us, and we're doing okay. We're doing all right. I have the big road race coming up in September, so I'm hoping that will go well. And Andre has the truck pull, so we're just always at it.
Pulling a truck.
A big truck.
They can do it. They've done it. Andre's done it before with a team. He's taken a team.
We've pulled an airplane.
They pulled an airplane last year. Yeah.
Yeah, we went 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
We went to Warwick, Rhode Island, to the airport, where we did a fundraiser for MS. And we had a team of 25 athletes, and we pulled a full-size 747 airplane.
That's a real plane.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
When you're saying you pulled a plane, I'm thinking a Cessna.
Puddle jump.
Oh, no. It's a big-ass plane. It was awesome.
You sit there and say, nobody turned the engines
That's
on.
where he got this idea from other events. Yeah,
I
so
can't have
it's
an
going to be
airplane
great.
there yet.
I know. That could be coming in the
Maybe.
future.
It's our first annual, so maybe one day we'll pull a plane.
You know, so this group is one that you hope you never have to need, but you want there. You know, like I say, I look at our kids, it's 4,400 of them. In my mind, there's not one more special or less special. They're all our kids.
I agree.
So you have a small percentage of kids that need a little extra, but it's on both ends. Because special needs to me is not just the kids who need help getting to the median, but the top 10%. You know, the kids who are the absolute top academically, they're special needs.
I think every child has a special need. That's the way I look at it. Every child has a special need. It's diverse. They're individuals. Everybody has a different way of looking at it, and everybody has a different need. I mean,
again,
that's how I look at it.
When I think about it, when I was in high school, 3 of us got banished. We had run out of science and math courses. So back then, Uncle Paul, Mr. Raftery, sent us to Dean Junior College. our senior year of high school for 2 classes. It was the coolest thing. But again, it was taking care of, we had special needs. We were bored.
Josh does a lot of that now too at Milford High. He offers a lot of opportunities for our students to take community college courses and junior college courses while they're still in high school.
The thing I love about what they're doing, what Josh is doing at the high school, is you don't have to travel to Franklin.
No, yeah.
You know, they have the online,
Yeah.
it's not virtual classroom, but it's the classroom where you can match yourself up with 20 or 30 kids of the same ability. Because no matter how smart you think you are, there's people out there smarter. You know, no matter how good you are, you know, it's like weightlifting. You may think you're great, and then you look on TV and you see this clean and jerk, 300 pounds this little girl's pulling. It's like,
By a girl half my size.
yeah. And you sit there and say, wow.
Yeah.
So, you know, like everything, we try and do as much as we can for the kids. And it's just wonderful when I see how far our programs have come. That, you know, you can take chemistry courses, that you can, you know, my junior year I had to go to a college out of town to take a chemistry course because I was bored. Now, with the programs, you don't have to. When I look at the bistro, how cool is that? The skills that, I guess that's pre-voc?
Pre-vocational program, yeah, they have a bistro cafe in there where they cook for the teachers and staff.
And they get used to money, they get used to the responsibility, they get used to the routine of working. I mean, that to me is so cool.
Yeah. Those are valuable life lessons, right, that you can only be taught.
That we take for granted with typical kids. You know?
All kids need to learn how to budget and use the bank and use a debit card and
Can
all
you
that.
talk to my daughter?
She knows how to use your credit card.
Oh yeah, she's very good at that. So people who are listening and they want to help,
Yeah.
how do they help?
Well, we can always use volunteers in all ways, coaching or playing on a team or fundraising, or we always need help, or helping me with a lot of the paperwork that is involved with the programming. So we are always looking for volunteers to help in many different ways. Or if you don't have the time for that and you want to make a donation, we're always looking for help in that way too. So we have a Milford Special Olympics Facebook page if people want to message me, or they can get me, my email is at the high school at jwalsh@milfordma.com. They can get me that way too.
For people who are worried, because the first time you approached me 100 years ago to coach, I was scared to death. I wasn't scared to coach soccer, because I already was coaching 2 teams. But I'll admit, I had no idea, and I was very worried that I'd let the kids down, that not knowing what I'm supposed to do as a Special Olympics coach, that I would fall flat in my face and disappoint the kids. I was so wrong. I can tell you that I was blessed with my other teams. Their parents were very protective. They were wonderful. But they didn't compare to the Special Olympics families. I've never met a group so appreciative. And that's kids and parents.
I know.
You know, because the parents, you didn't have to ask twice. You ask anything and you had...
And all you had to do was be yourself.
That's it.
Just be an old man from Milford. But...
And that's all you need, is to just come and share your talents with us, and then you have an experience like you had, or like Andres had, or like I have every day. I go to, I work all day and then I go to the programs at night, and I don't mind it at all. Once I'm there, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go out. And then I get there and I'm like, this is the best thing through my whole day. Going to softball or bocce or cycling or wherever I am at night, once I'm there, it's the best thing I've done all day.
You know, it was funny because people would say, thank you for all you do for the kids. And I felt like saying, you don't get it.
Thank you for what they do for me.
Yeah.
You don't get it. I only hope I put half as much into them as what they did for me.
I have an athlete that's in a wheelchair, and now he's got a wheelchair robotics that can stand up now.
Right.
So like he can do bocce and things like that.
Boom.
And last night I showed up at bocce and he pulls his arm up like this and he shows me a tattoo that he got in memory of his dad.
Oh.
And he was so proud of that. And so he's trying to hug me, I'm hugging him, and then all of a sudden my arm pushes the button on his wheelchair.
jeez.
And the two of us are going back, and I said, and he's hitting me, Jen, and I, but it was like a laugh like from your belly, you know. It was just such a good laugh, and it was so nice to see him, and you know, he was proud of his dad being a firefighter, and you know, he has passed
That
away.
I can understand.
Oh yeah.
You?
Moments
I
like
can't. That just looks like pain. When I look at your body, how many thousands of needle
There's
stabs?
been quite a few.
No.
That's how
Andre can take it though.
God.
I don't drink. I don't do drugs. This is how I spend my money. I ride my motorcycles and I get tattoos.
And he gives back every day, because not only does he change lives in Special Olympics, he changes lives for people at the gym. And I hear stories from people all the time about the things that Andre does. He's an amazing individual.
I just like lifting weights, that's all.
He changes lives, Al, I'm telling you the truth.
What was that commercial? I pick it up, I
pick
put it
things
down.
up and put them down. Yeah, that was a Planet Fitness commercial.
Now, how is it different going to a monster gym versus yours?
It's not, we have a great sense of togetherness.
Yeah, it's a community. It really is. You walk in there and you can just tell.
We are a private gym. We work on invite, referral only. And that being is because I want to continue, you know, the big family tree. I want to continue making that grow. We all have great, you know, we share the same core values there. We pretty much seem to be on the same page, so.
Is it expensive to belong to a private gym?
No more than any other gym.
Any other gym, yeah. It's the
Oh,
same.
okay.
And it's funny because it's $50 a month, and sometimes when I tell people it's $50 a month, they're like, "That's it?" Which I
Yeah, well,
I was like, "Oh."
no, but I mean,
Well, you want to give me 70, it's
Yeah,
okay
yeah,
with me.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's not like an amount that an average person couldn't afford.
No. And you're getting more than just
And
a
it's for
membership
your health,
there. You
yeah.
are getting, you know, an incredible amount of new resources, you know, and friends and
A support
the
network,
support
too.
network that you get with everybody there.
Well, the idea of having a place for the parents. I mean, I started coaching soccer for a very specific reason. I got to be with my daughters 3 nights a week. You know, and when it got to be older and they had those boy things hanging around, we ended up putting the girls and boys together so that we kept them together.
Yeah.
And you could watch what they were doing. So, you know, the whole idea of being able to go to the gym and watch your child or participate is a great idea.
And some of our athletes don't live close, like you say, they're from all over. I mean, our Milford area Special Olympics services 17 towns. We have athletes.
Wow.
We always say, if you want to drive here, we'll help you.
That's so awesome.
We don't turn anybody away that wants to drive, so sometimes
You're always
Welcome.
something, Miss Jen.
Think so.
The love and the passion you show for the kids is obvious.
thank you.
And bringing other people in
With the same passion.
with the same passion.
Yeah.
As always, there's so much going on in Milford. This is a group of people who do incredible things for incredible kids. But as I said, these kids are no more special, no less special than the other 4,000 kids we have in our school system. If you can, get involved. If you have a couple extra shekels here or there, consider a donation. If you have time, more important than money, almost, is taking some time, helping the kids directly. I can tell you from this old man's experience, you can't imagine how much you get back. So thank you for helping out. And as always, thank you for joining. To our 6 loyal viewers, may God bless. May tomorrow be a better night than tonight. Thank you.
Not too long since I've been home. Been running all my life